guys. Call to order Rankin City Council, July 22nd, 2024. Roll call. Mr. Scott?
Here.
Ms. Underwood?
Here.
Mr. Blackwell?
Here.
Ms. Taylor?
Here.
Ms. Riley?
Here.
I'm gonna stand for the invocation that's gonna be given tonight by Deep Doubly with the First Baptist Church of Rankin. And please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah. Let us pray. Father, we thank you for our assembly tonight, and we lift up to you our community and ask for your blessing. May we have a good meeting. May you bless, Lord, our elected officials. May you bless our citizens. Lord, would you bless our homes and our families as we look to you. We pray that in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Doubly.
Thank you, Deacon.
All right, guys, motion's in order to approve tonight's agenda with the amended to include 4A.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
I got a motion by Mr. Blackwell, a second by Mr. Scott. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Also, motion's in order to approve the July 8th, 2024 minutes. Does anybody have anything on that?
Mayor, I didn't see anything. Offer a motion to approve it. Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Scott, a second by Mr. Blackwell. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Tonight, guys, we're going to, we started our Hero of the Month. And tonight, we're gonna be presenting that to John H. Day Sr., his family, and Mr. Scott will be presenting that.
Anytime we have an opportunity to recognize our veterans and people who serve this country, give us the freedom that we have today, it's an exciting thing. And the mayor and council of the city of Rankin have decided that we will recognize them once a month as our heroes, because indeed they are our heroes. And so this month we have like to present to you Mr. John H. Day Sr. Mr. John Henry Day was born February 3rd, 1925 in Savannah, Georgia. He was the son of the late Leah Anderson and Joseph Day. He grew up in Wildwood, Florida, and Savannah, Georgia. He was married to the late Mrs. Elsa M. Day for 39 years. Ms. Day was an educator in Effingham County, and was a father of 3 and a grandfather of 1 at the time of his death. The family has grown a little since then. And Mr. John was a decorated World War II Navy veteran and the first black instructor of the Navy Seabees. After discharge from the Navy, he enrolled in Savannah State College, now known as Savannah University. Under the GI Bill, he graduated in 1949 as an honor student with a bachelor's degree in social studies. He had the distinction and honor of naming the Savannah State College newspaper, the Tiger Road, and served as a charter member of the Gamma Zeta chapter of Phi Beta Sigma fraternity and company. He entered the Air Force during the Korean War. His achievements were recognized with numerous medals and awards, including the Bronze Star, the President United Citation, the Commandment Medal, and the Outstanding Unit Award. He enjoyed his work as a military police in the Air Force. After his Air Force retirement in 1968, he entered the Army Corps of Engineers, where he held various positions of responsibility until his civil service retirement in 1985. As a civic leader, Mr. John was formerly chairman of the Rankin City Planning, Zoning Board of Appeal. He served on the board of directors of the Springfield Optimist Club. John was active with the Effingham County Victim Witness Assistance Program and the NAACP. He was honored as a Grand Marshal of the 1990 Martin Luther King Jr. Day Parade in Effingham County. As a member of the Goodwill Missionary Baptist Church in Rankin, he served as a deacon, trustee, president emeritus of the Usher Board, and BTU Bible Study instructor. Deacon Day was treasurer of the Sunday School Convention and served on various committees of the Pilgrim Missionary Baptist Association. Deacon Day gained his heavenly wings on October 28, 1990. We'd like the family to come up, please. We have his son Lucette, his daughter Lucette, and his son John, who's put in. She's worked as a nurse and retired nurse, and he's done a whole lot. He's instructor at which college now?
Morris College.
Morris College.
30 years.
30 years, and he worked for NASA in the mountain, messing with uranium and stuff.
Ooh, wow, that's awesome.
So we're just glad to have you all here, and we're just proud of your father. And we thank you all for allowing us to share him with you. And we just ask that you continue to just keep the city in prayer. We keep you all in prayer. And we're just glad to be honored to represent this to you all tonight. We want to ask you to come around here a little bit. And it reads, presented to the family of First Lieutenant John H. Day Sr., Rankin, Georgia City Council member, have nominated you as Hero of the Month for July 24th, U.S. Navy 1943, 1945, U.S. Air Force 1950, 1968. God bless you.
No, just on behalf of my sister Amy, also our sister who lives in Maryland, Connie, we'd like to thank you for bestowing this honor to our father. He was certainly a person who loved his country. He believed in service, having worked for the Navy, Air Force, and Army. And so, and after retirement, the city of Rankin as well. So we thank you for this.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank
All right, guys, public comments shall pertain to agenda items only. Should you wish to appear before council, forms can be found at Rankin City Hall. And just remember, comments does not mean during administrative reports. So if we talk about something during administrative reports, that does not count for part of council. Starting with new business, line item number 1, Linda Conley requests to appear before council. Ms. Conley?
Is she here? Okay. All right. So, moving on.
New business line item number 2 is vote on the first reading of an ordinance by mayor and city council as written. Ms. Lewis?
Good evening. So 2 meetings ago, council held the public hearing on proposed chapters 4 and 5, so parking and streets and signs. You did ask us to go ahead and make the changes that the Planning and Zoning Board had discussed, and then also to look at that parking table and bring it a little bit more, make it a little bit more local. And so I did that. We went and looked at, I know one of the concerns was restaurants, so we went and looked at local, non-chain restaurants that weren't located in a shopping center. Because in a shopping center, the parking is, shared by everyone. And in doing that, What I came up with was looking at having the parking be 125, so one space per 125 square feet. And what that does is it keeps everybody, all of those restaurants, it keeps them conforming. I also looked at 100 square feet, I looked at 150 square feet. 150 seemed not to give everybody enough parking. 100 would have made a couple of the restaurants non-conforming. 125, like I said, keeps everybody in conformance, gives a little bit of room there as well. So that was kind of the main change related to parking and streets. So I just wanted you to know that we did do that. We went and did some research and came back with a new number there. And then for signage, other than the recommendations that the Planning and Zoning Board had, I incorporated those, but I did want to bring just a couple of items to your attention. Not for changes, but what I'd like to do is just make sure that you're clear on what we're adopting, so that after it would be adopted, that you wouldn't get calls from the public and, we'd have to come back and make changes. So a couple of things to bring your attention to are the prohibited signs. So in number 5, we're putting all flags, feather signs, pennants, spinners, streamers, balloons, things like that. So that language is in there right now, but we're adding feather signs to that. Those are those kind of, if everybody's, they look kind of like a feather, you see them. This would also kind of capture the, the waving person that kind of goes up and down. The other one is what's in there right now is the code right now, as it's written, your current code, and then this going forward would keep that as well, is any kind of portable signs. Typically think about what you see during the elections, the stick in the ground signs. Those are not permitted right now, other than political signs, and they wouldn't be permitted under this new code as well.
Well, there is a lot of people that have them out there advertising their businesses, so we need to.
Right, and we've been starting
inform
to,
them.
yeah, we've been starting to slowly crack down on that. We were starting to do that with code enforcement. We kind of tackled those bigger items first, and then we're moving into signs. So we will be doing that as well. And again, as with everything, we try to start with some education, some warnings before we take it further.
So even if they're on private property?
Even if they're on private property, they're not permitted under the current code.
And what about the graduation signs?
So those typically, like you find those in a neighborhood, so we don't go into single-family neighborhoods
Okay.
looking at these signs, so we're talking about
Just strictly
commercial and properties, so.
Okay.
But again, these are, a couple of these are already in there. The change with the feather signs is something that we feel is necessary, but I don't want you to be surprised, once this would get adopted. So right now, what we would do is second reading is proposed for August 12th, and then 10 days after that is when this would go into effect.
Now, does that include the smaller signs where people have their businesses? I talked to you about that today.
Yeah, so it includes those as well. It's included by 2 sections that are already in the code, and we're proposing to keep those sections in the code as well. So,
Okay, I have a question about how the church has put up a temporary sign, even, we had a pumpkin patch sign, which I know, this was with my previous
MDDS
church,
and-
but this church. Those are like up so many days, they're prohibited as long as they get, permission.
so they can do, there are provisions for temporary sign permits.
Okay,
So a business can always apply for a temporary sign permit.
okay.
So there are limitations in how long you can have that, but that may be what somebody would maybe want to explore.
Okay, thank you.
The one question I had, it was way back in the back, it said, section 90-67, service or curbside lanes, and it's talking about landscapers putting cones out and all that. How are they gonna get notified? Because you got landscapers coming from all over the place. And typically, most of them don't put those orange cones out.
Right, so we'll do some public education on the website. We'll also do it through our app. Also, what we'll do is when we're out and about and we see that kind of thing, we'll just stop and talk to people, let them know that this is what we'd like them to do in the future, just for
Within the city,
safety.
yeah.
So I think most of them, even if they don't put it out, they may have those cones for other projects. And they're fairly inexpensive to get to.
While I saw that, the other thought come to mind, are they required to have a business license to work within the city limits? Because they're working for private homes typically, and businesses also, but I wasn't sure if we,
So if they have one that's local to the state, they don't necessarily have to have a Rincon one, if they can show that they have one in another municipality in Georgia.
Anybody else have anything for Ms. Lewis? If not, motion in order.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Offer a motion that we approve, ordinance on, first reading.
I second.
Got a motion to approve by Mr. Scott, second by Mr. Blackwell. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item number 3 is request approval to purchase football and cheerleading uniforms. Ms. Loper?
So, right now, we are currently at, 165 kids for football and 155 cheerleaders. So, with the average of the uniforms at $50 to $60, our range right now is 17 to 19,000. And then cheerleading equipment and football equipment, we've got an abundance of little ones, and the shoulder pads are swallowing them. So we're gonna need to purchase a bunch of those. So right now, we're looking at anywhere from 23 to maybe 25,000
Okay.
in, uniforms and equipment.
Okay. And then they turn this stuff back in? No,
Only the shoulder pads.
only the
Shoulder
shoulder
pads.
Yeah.
Shirts, shirts they keep.
Okay.
So
And
apparently,
then helmets are,
helmets, they buy
they buy
themselves.
the helmets.
Yeah.
We,
So-
and we were in need for the shoulder pad swap outs, cause our shoulder pads were, smelled bad and they were.
Yeah, we went through them, but I mean, like, right now, when I left tonight, we were giving out shoulder pads. And with the little ones, you know, we need them to fit liability wise. So, you know, we're gonna need to order a good many of the extra smalls and get them what they need.
Is the information on our agenda cover page correct? Do we have a $12,000 deficit for this item? Don't see it.
It is the line item they use for that, which is uniforms, so that line item does, but they're going to, Whitney will do a budget amendment and take it from operating expenses and move it to uniforms.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be honest with you, we had this conversation last week, and I don't understand how the budget was done, and
It's only $1,000.
it's.
It was uniforms.
It's
just
kinda,
for
yeah,
uniforms.
it's kinda jumbled, and being that Whitney and I have worked together before, we're gonna work on next year's budget so that you guys can understand, you know, uniforms needs to consist of every uniform, no matter what it is. And so not just sports equipment or this, you know, equipment is equipment, uniforms are uniforms. So we'll get it straightened out. We're gonna have to do some switching accounts, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, knowing that we didn't take in money for the cheerleading and football, that was my request for bringing that forward, so that you guys would know, you know, what we
Yeah.
were doing.
But you do have money in the rec budget to cover it, it's just not in that particular line.
No.
No,
It is-
it'll come from our operating budget. It'll
Our
move into,
operating-
yeah.
Not your operating budget, our operating.
Yes.
Recreation line item, I think it's the recreation line item, operating supplies or something. I think it'll come from there, because that's where it would normally go. And because they want uniforms to be all uniforms of all type, they'll just move whatever was over there
Yeah.
over to uniforms.
Yeah,
We'll
I
be
think-
switching accounts
Yeah,
left and
I think
right for a while.
creating, better buckets.
I wanna create something that when you guys look at it, you know exactly what you're looking at. Grounds, you know, whatever, everything's itemized.
We discussed, we had this problem with uniforms before.
Right.
And I think we're supposed to have created that line item, because there was a certain time when, before you would know how many you had. but I think we're supposed to have looked at what we had that previous year and budget that amount, or you got a percentage, and put it in that line item.
Right.
And it's
So I've
supposed to
looked
have
at
been there.
the budgets that were sent to us this year, and there is not a line
Right, it's not
item
in
for
there.
this.
Yeah, and
Because I think
technically,
we
The
discussed
current
this
line
one.
item for $1,000 says uniforms, but I think that those are, as Delcia indicated, staff uniforms.
Yeah.
There is no line.
Well, I
item.
remember discussing the staff.
Yeah,
It will
yeah.
be
We
corrected
talked
this
about
year.
it identifying.
yeah, I can assure you I'll get it corrected
Yeah,
for
they
you
used to
guys,
have it on.
you know, moving forward.
A lot of that stuff was
It'll
just,
be broken
just
down
one,
this year.
one bucket
Operating
that everything went in.
Yeah,
So-
and honestly, it's not, it's one of those things too that we can look at and we should be able to know, you know, what we're giving out and know right now, we need to throw out 20 shoulder pads, and for next year's budget, I can say, you know, we're gonna need this as a replacement, but then add money for the extra kids that sign up. So going forward, we really shouldn't have to have this
Yeah,
discussion.
right.
I should be able to be ahead of the game with it.
Right, and as, you need to prepare ahead of time for like the next year.
Yeah, I always try to add a percentage, you know, assuming that we're gonna go up 20% in our numbers next year, and here's where we're gonna need to be.
Well, and considering a lot of that stuff is worn out, we need to get new stuff.
Correct. Yeah, I don't wanna give out. I
agree.
tossed.
I agree.
Absolutely, you need to do this. Do we have numbers on this though? I see no quotes or anything for how much this is gonna cost.
So, I talked to the distributor, and both of them were at the uniforms, the jersey and the pants, and the cheer uniforms was $50 a uniform, 50 to 55 a uniform.
And given the numbers that you have and the extras that you need to buy, are we going over 25,000?
No, we're gonna be right around 23, 24. But I thought the number was 20. Am I wrong?
We don't know. We
don't
have
know.
nothing.
No, I meant for needing to come to you guys for approval.
Okay, good.
Did I mess that up?
Holding-
No, you're
No.
fine.
Oh,
you're
okay,
fine.
okay.
You're fine.
With the season needs classroom approaching, could we go ahead and
Correct.
approve it and then bring it back to staff, the mayor and staff? For the
Yes,
file?
not to exceed certain amount of
Yeah.
money.
So
So
you're
not
saying
to
not
exceed
to-
25.
We can put-
Yeah, I should be good at 25, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
All
But
right.
I thought that I needed over
Make sure
20
that
to
you-
come to y'all.
Make sure
Okay.
that you say not to over 25.
Motion to approve the line item not to exceed 25,000.
Second.
Got a motion by Ms. Riley, a second by Ms. Taylor to approve, line item 3, not to exceed 25,000. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, line item number 4 is approve agreement with Justin Thigpen on behalf of T&T Rodeo Company LLC in the amount of $35,000 for the 2024 Lincoln Roundup Pro Rodeo to be held October 25. How about that?
Yeah.
So it's 10/25/2024 at Freedom Park. So you wanna speak on that?
Yes,
Ms. Logan?
so, we
Or
moved,
25, 26, 24.
huh?
25.
No, go ahead, Miss.
Okay.
Shannon, the date says, our date says 25.
25.
Yeah.
It's
That
all
was
right.
my
Go
fault.
ahead.
I put it
I'm
down.
very, very excited. We're having it in October and not.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was gonna say. So I opted, after speaking with him, he said that, in the past that it was always requested to have it in August. And so I asked him, could we move it? So, shoot me, but I picked a weekend that George is on a bye. And that's, you know,
That was smart.
So-
That was smart.
Sorry.
The only problem I got with it is August, normally the horses are a little bit angrier because it's hot. So we don't get as good a show.
well,
No, we're all dying.
yeah. So,
Yes, I'm
the
glad.
rates went up a little bit, based upon, you know, I don't know, y'all have got a copy of the contract. But they went up just a little bit, you know, because of what he said to me is if he could offer a little bit more, then the rodeo riders wanna come to where the most money's at. So that's why it went up a little bit, so that he could attract more to come.
We still have a
Okay.
good budget. for that. It looks like we're below the budget. I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion by Ms. Riley and a second by Mr. Underwood to approve the rodeo on 12/25/24. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion
Okay,
passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shannon.
I'll help again, just let me know.
Okay, the additional, line item is 4A. Consideration to authorize the acting mayor to execute a contract with Effingham County Board of Elections and Registers to conduct the election for the unexpired term of mayor to be held during the general election at a cost to Rankin not to exceed $5,000, subject to, city attorney approval of the contract.
Since we go to the county for election,
Yeah.
I
Make
have
it.
a choice, I'll motion to approve it.
Second that.
So we got a motion by Mr. Scott, we got a second by Mr. Blackwell. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we're gonna move into administrative reports. Guys, we'll slow this is gonna slow us a little bit, but we have people here that's gonna give us some updates on all the things that are going on in the city. We'll just start with, Ms. Lewis, just kinda go from there.
So for how do planning and zoning? Yes.
Yes.
So for planning and zoning, the comprehensive plan has been reviewed by staff and our stakeholder group, the update to it, the 2024 update. And so that is going to be coming to council at your August 12th meeting for a public hearing. They will have updated it with pictures and data and all of that information. Y'all get a chance to look at it. We also send it to the Department of Community Affairs, and then it will come back to you for voting in October, at one of your October meetings. So it has to be adopted by October so we don't, run afoul of any of our grant opportunities. So we are also, as you can tell, continuing to move forward with the Unified Development Ordinance. So that is moving right along. You'll have another couple chapters coming to you probably in about a month. And then we have a lot of projects that are going forward right now, both some that are in the review stage, some that are, that will be making their way to council, some that are under construction, some that are almost finished with construction. And then I probably have a list of 8 on the board in my office of people that have called saying, hey, we're thinking about doing this at this property. So, so pretty realistic that those are gonna move forward. So there's a lot going on right now in planning and zoning. So.
Perfect. All right, thank you, Ms. Lewis. We'll move to, city engineer, and if you guys can come up, I kinda wanna talk about, you guys update us on sidewalk, picket fence, all the items that we currently have going with you now, if y'all can, Macomber Park.
Yeah, all of our sidewalk projects right now are getting pretty close to wrapping up. 9th Street, well, all the concrete's been poured for quite a while and the sidewalks are being used, on 9th Street, Fort Howard, and State Route 21. The only item we're waiting on 9th Street is the last easement, which I think the city is working on. Fort Howard Road is complete. The last item we're working on there is I've requested a meeting with the HOA to make sure they understand when we replace this crack in the sidewalk, there can be some discoloration, and I know they're very proud of their landscaped manicured entrance. Everything else has been addressed with their irrigation system. There's one section right before you get to the stop sign where there's a hairline crack that goes across it. If we replace that whole panel of concrete, it may not ever be the same color as the concrete that's out there now, just based on dirt and sand and cement. And I want them to be aware of that. It might change and it might blend in over the next 3, 4, 5 months, but there's a chance it'll never be the same color and it'll just stick out like a sore thumb. And then on State Route 21, y'all see the last thing we're doing out there is the handrails. They were on back order. It's aluminum handrails with stainless fittings. They're putting those up now. That project should be wrapped up with a final inspection and everything before the first council meeting in August.
Looks like somebody's already hit one of them. Did you see that?
I didn't see that today. It might have been the workers. I don't know.
It was leaning.
So
Nobody should be driving up where them poles are, I hope.
the sidewalks
That
on,
down next to the car wash.
No. Yeah, you're right.
They haven't set the concrete yet.
It's just-
They were just
So
sitting
they're
in the
just,
hole.
they're just sitting there.
Okay.
so the sidewalks aren't gonna go from, there in front of the, car wash on down to Fort Howard? In front of
This-
CVS and Arby's, and will those sidewalks continue on down, or are they gonna stop right there?
This portion of the project was originally from the entrance to Walmart all the way to St. Joseph's in front of Planet Fitness.
Okay.
And then because of the environmental issues in the box culvert widening and the cost, we backed it up to Crystal. So that's just this section now. We haven't looked at doing them from Walmart to Fort Howard.
Was there any other sidewalks in our long-range planning identified, besides the ones that we're doing now?
Well, I've given a work order to, Mr. Lynn to do
Okay.
the ones in the golf course, in the front.
Right,
Very
Lost
Lost
Plantation was one.
in
The other
front.
one I thought about was, Lisa Street, tying in and going from Lisa Street there at Fort Howard along all the, apartments down to, Crystals there on Highway 21, cause, there's a lot of people that walk up and down Lisa Street, but that's for the next,
Next round.
phase of projects.
Oh, did they do that?
I wasn't sure if that was on the long-range plan for the further sidewalks.
Well, we don't have a long-range plan
We had issued a long-range
Right.
plan.
for sidewalks. We're working on that.
But,
for
but the ones that
roads.
we've already discussed,
Right.
Are near completion.
well, no,
And Lost Plantation.
but we were on hold with that one. and
Why are we on hold with Lost Plantation?
We're gonna move forward with it. It was just a, Doug and then we're kinda told hold and.
We just haven't been given the go-ahead to
The
start
go-ahead to
the ones
start.
in the golf course.
And we had already approved that, so it
How
needs
do
to,
we- Okay.
I don't think we've approved the amount yet, have we? Or have we?
yeah.
Yeah,
we approved
all
it
of
in
it
the last
came
one.
before us,
All
we
of it.
approved.
And that
it.
included the Marion
Yes.
addition.
It
That
That was the last
both-
thing we
both
did.
of them. The only thing that we were gonna get with you on, and that's, you know, a little, not far down the road, would be the path.
Golf cart path.
That's right, because.
Those are next.
And.
We got that from Terry Friday. She emailed us,
Yeah.
the two quotes and me and Ellen, we're gonna look at those this
Okay.
week.
And reason being, guys, we spent a lot of money on these carts, and, you
They're
know,
getting beat up.
they're getting beat up, and then on top of that, you know, we spent a lot of money this last time trying to get the carts prepared to give back, and, you know, because of the path, so, we need to definitely move that one as well, and I think while we're out there, hopefully we can get all of it done.
But we need to make a note that we need to go back and start identifying these other areas now, because we
Right.
get to budget time now.
Yes.
We need to have that ready before we get into the budget.
Right, that's why I mentioned that about Lisa Street,
Yeah.
maybe
Well,
something on Fourth
I would-
Street,
I'd like-
maybe, I'm not sure.
I'd like to also mention Lexington Avenue from that ballpark.
Right.
Down
Yeah,
to
that-
Ninth
yeah.
Street, down to
Yeah.
21, cause Shannon can probably attest, going in and out of there, there's a lot of people that walk up and down Lexington.
Right.
But let's just do a workshop.
Yeah,
on
that's
that and get that
something.
back.
Yeah.
for-
Probably see a long-range
Let's
plan for
move forward with
sidewalks,
what we
period,
got right now.
just like we're doing with roads.
Right, and like on streets that are like Lexington and some of the ones inside Lost Plantation, when you don't have curb and gutter, you have to be off the road a certain distance, and there's ditches and swales there, and then you have to start piping them, and that drives the cost up. So that'll be something we'll have to look at, whether it's additional right of way or curb and gutter or what.
And when we do that workshop, we need to be thinking about our long-term plans, what roads are we gonna start on? Because, this year, we're not doing any roads, but first of next year, we need to do them, and then we need to have that prepared for the county, so that we can go ahead and purchase that in a group, material, and also have their vendor that they use as well, so it saves the city some cost there.
And as y'all know, we are working on y'all's 200-plus roads now, the evaluation
Right.
report.
Now,
We have to get that back first.
yeah,
Yeah.
does that come, is that just, riding, or is that boring?
No boring, so it's basically a roadway evaluation.
Okay.
The DOT has a standard called PACES,
Yeah,
and that stands for the whatever it stands for. I'll tell you right off the top of my head, but that's how they.
Go along at it.
So,
I like that.
I'll just be honest with you.
Go with it, man.
So, basically, they're gonna ride the roads, they're gonna walk the roads. They take sections of the roads and you look at the types of cracks, types of failures, and then you rank each road. And so then they'll do a cost estimate, to kind of get an order of magnitude of the cost. And then it's gonna, of course, we've got some roads that are brand new, some we just finished, some that's 5 years old, some that's 10 years old. So, what they'll do is rank them, and then, we can get with Tim also. He may know something about a road that, you know, it might need immediate repair. And so that would reprioritize some of them a little bit. But you should have, you know, kind of a ranking, a cost, and then what we'll do is kind of figure out how many we want to do a year. And I just throw something out there. If you wanted to do like, I don't know, $5 million a year, we would kind of look and see, you know, we'd group them 5 at a time or 3 at a time or whatever to get kind of close to that number. So that's the kind of report it should be. So it should be, some of it be repaving, some of it may be some kind of treatment or something to increase the longevity of the road. So it'll be a mix of things. It'll be a good plan.
So what's the purpose of the county doing the bore sample to pick the, you know, the worst first?
So some of them, they don't know what you've got. So there might be a county road, it might have been dirt and they paved over it with surface treatment rock, then they asphalted over it, then they put ash, and then they put some more rock, and, you know, it might be this thick.
They don't know what the base is.
So they don't really know what it is, you know.
One of the biggest headaches was ash.
The ash
Yeah,
was sprayed on.
and the county had a lot of ash.
Yeah, so
Spraying that ash.
they're probably just using that to
Right.
verify what it is.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of probably the last 5 or 10 roads we've done have all been basically the same. So you've got either really old roads in the city or newer roads. So
Okay,
if we need to do some special things to look at them when it comes time for construction, we would do it then.
okay.
Okay, but there is a budgeting mechanism in that too, so you'll give us some idea of cost of some of these.
Yes, it'll be a kind of an order of magnitude of what it should cost.
And all the
today's
roads in
dollars-
Rankin are pretty much the
Alex,
same, it's just the same
okay.
clay base, cause that's what every road in Rankin is when we do these elevate projects, they're all the same.
I'm excited and scared all at the same time.
Well, I know some of the roads that we done some time back, we found, you know, broken pipes, busted pipes and stuff underneath them, so.
That's just part of it. I think
That's part of it.
you'll know, like if we, probably those roads, if we'd have took a boring every 5 feet, you still would have missed it.
Right.
So,
Right.
Is there any out there, cause just looking forward, is, while we're doing this, especially as we're pulling up streets and redoing them, cause I know a lot of them, Doug told me y'all are just pulling them back down to the base and starting back over, so they have the right load limits.
We go back in with 8 inches of rock and 2 inches of asphalt on every road we do in the city.
So if we could identify any lots that may not have sewer and water to them, to keep people in 6 months after we pave it, going and cutting it to put a line in,
We don't allow road cuts.
they have to bore?
Got a bore.
Well, I know right after we did Lexington, we cut the road down there,
Well, that's because that sewer main.
so that was us, not somebody.
Yeah.
Okay.
You wanna, go ahead and talk a little bit about picket fences, where we are with that?
yeah, I guess y'all seen the latest plan. Have y'all
Yes.
seen all that? We met with, Jonathan, a representative of IDA, Bro and Omnitrax, I think they're environmental consultant, and a representative from, the Sharpley family, probably right around the end of June. So we revised some concepts, some cost estimates, went ahead and prepared a task order, work order describing what all we needed to do. Sent that back to Jonathan, and I think he was in the process of getting that approved. We're ready to start work tomorrow as soon as you give us the go-ahead to do it. So we need to do some surveying, some easement plats so we can get some easements going, and some plans so we can clear and grade and build a road.
So our timeline, we're still on that first week of August, taking a tree out, getting started.
We would need to discuss that there.
Okay.
We can do something,
Okay.
but it has the, because of the size, so it's around 1.5 miles of road, so that means you have to go to Georgia Soil and Water for erosion control plan approval. You have to submit stuff to the state for, stormwater for everything.
Right.
Being the size of it, but since it's a city project, then you can,
But do you have the amount offhand?
I do.
1.2, I think.
1.2?
Yeah, cause we had asked for 2 million plus 750 that we already had.
Right.
So it was gonna come in at 1.2, I think is what it is.
It was around 1.5. I think 1.2 was one of the original.
Can we go ahead and approve it?
I think we need to put it on the
It
agenda.
has to be on the
Um,
agenda.
We can put it on the agenda for the next council meeting.
I've got some exhibits and cost estimates of it too, just in case you hadn't known.
But it won't stop them from moving forward with going ahead and getting all those things done, starting, right? Okay.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
start
Yeah.
now. I think we also need Lost Plantation sidewalks on the next one.
Okay, yeah, we'll do both of them at the same time.
And then,
Thank you.
while you're passing that out, just wanna go back real quick to the Fort Howard sidewalk, the color issue. So I have been in contact with the HOA there. I'll reach back out and confirm it, but that's all you're waiting for is for someone to tell you to either do it or don't.
Well, I want them to understand what's gonna be done. I've spoken with David Bishop, the treasurer, who lives right on the corner, and he was out of town working in Savannah or somewhere all week, last week, and couldn't, cause he's the one that we made contact with the first time,
Right.
before we started. He has reached out to the HOA president, who he says is a doctor, and he's got crazy hours. I've been waiting on him or one of them to call me back so I could meet out, but if you have a contact,
Yeah, I can
you,
push that this week.
yeah,
Get you
I
an answer.
could meet out there with her
Just looking
tomorrow.
for an answer
I
on
just
that.
want them to understand, is this crack big enough to replace a section of sidewalk from me to Elliott? And it possibly could be a different color. That's all. I just didn't wanna do it and then say, whoa, we didn't know this. I just want them to know, cause
Understood.
that's all.
You do,
And-
you do
and
that
it-
in writing too, Doug, so.
Yes, ma'am, I'll follow up with whatever we decide, with whoever I decide, I'll follow up with y'all in an email.
And it is ultimately y'all's sidewalk, it is in the right of way.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah,
it's-
it's y'all's road,
We
y'all's
wanna
right
do the
away.
right thing,
Yeah,
but we
we
wanna
still
make sure.
want, we still want
Be a good neighbor, I
to be a good
understand.
neighbor, yeah.
So Doug, if you would just, bring us up to speed, I know we were on a timeline with McCumber, and just kinda tell us how that's going and where we are with that project.
When we first started, it was just paving between all 4 fields, and that was slated to be bid in May. Then we come up with the list with the new fencing, the new backstops, the pole barns over the batting cages, the lights, everything, new backstops. And so when Jonathan gave me that list, we looked at it, it was y'all's, several of y'all's ideas in there, and Shannon's. We put that together, we sent out an addendum creating 2 projects. We had the concrete and storm drainage between the concession, between the 4 fields, and then we had a project for the vertical above ground. And we bid it that way, and we bid it, and that, couldn't bid it in May, cause they needed time to get all their numbers and bids and everything. So we bid it in June, had a pre-construction meeting the Monday or Tuesday after 4th of July, and we have contractors on board ready to go. Because of, talking with Ms. Loper, the fall ball season begins the 2nd, 3rd week of August. First week of August. I met with her and Jonathan and Mr. Coleman with ACC. He got the bid for the vertical, the fencing, the dugouts, the backstop, block, split face wall, the pole barns, the little bit of electrical and lighting. He's doing all that work, and he's already ordering materials and getting ready to do that to work around the fall ball schedule, so we don't just put everything till next year. He will do 1 field at a time instead of coming in there and tearing down everything for all 4 fields. He'll start on field 1, which is the first field, the big field on the left when you go in. She'll be playing ball on 3 fields. He's gonna be working on 1 field. When that field's done, he'll move to the next one. She'll put people and start playing on this field, so she's gonna be only able to use 3 fields in the original park for the fall. And then when
Plus
fall
the
ball's
floors down
over,
bottom.
and then fall ball's over, Mr. Scott Penholster with Penco will come in. He'll rip out all the existing concrete, put in the storm drainage, pave everything between all the new fencing, and he can't do his paving until the backstops and the split face block is installed behind home plate anyway. So he would be waiting on that as well. So he's going to work now. The concrete and drainage is pushed back till after fall ball, which will probably be
I can
December,
speak for
first of the
lead
year.
times on the material if you need me to. Just, the split face blocking has a 4 to 6 week lead time. Shannon's picking that out now, so as soon as she releases that, that'll be placed, and we've gotta order all of that at one time, so we'll need to store it there just cause it comes out the
Gotta
same
be
dye
delivered.
line, you know what I mean? The trusses are being built, for the pole barns. I think we've got 3 to 4 more weeks on those. That'll take 2 to 3 weeks to complete those, the assembly of them, then we'll come in and do the electrical. The fencing, I'm hoping that we can start on the fencing next week if the material's here. If not, it'll be the following week. But keep in mind that we're still at the mercy of the split face blocking, you know, because we can't complete that, we can't move to field 2 until we finish everything with field 1.
And so the reason why we went with that is because it matches the fields at the bottom, the newer fields. So it just made sense to
Yeah.
put those in, but even with that, I guess Shannon, you'll be on that, getting that.
I went to do it today, but everything was so wet, the colors,
Okay,
because of the wet, you couldn't really see the block, you know, when I was comparing the samples.
so you'll get that
So
to
I'll have
this
that
week.
by tomorrow.
Okay,
yeah.
tomorrow, perfect.
Thank you.
And then we'll just, you know, like I said, we'll look for those updates as we move into it. If you run into any glitches or whatever, obviously let, you know, Terry and Jody know, where we at with that. If
Yeah,
we
and I
run
can
into
put together a project schedule and send it to you guys so y'all can have some type of forecast to go, that's not a problem, I just need to get everything released before I can build that, so.
Perfect.
And Shannon, that's not gonna interfere any with your, guy from Southern Turf coming in?
No, that's what I was about to chime in and say. So depending too on our organizational meeting that we have August the 1st with the teams, depending on the number of teams that we have for the open league, you know, if we don't have as many as we wanna have or think we're gonna have, then I could release 2 fields at a time to be done. So that's, you know, we're kinda waiting until that August the 1st. But he's coming in the first week of August to do all the reclaim too. And so I'm gonna, you know, coordinate with them and work around it all as well, so we can get it done.
Well, grass is looking sharp out there.
Yeah, he's done an
So,
amazing.
Ms. Loper, while you're up here, let's just finish rec while she's up
I did
here.
a few things with Doug, but I think it's part of it.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Splash pad in the bathroom.
I'll be back.
Did Jonathan have you working on splash pad and layout and bathrooms at Patriots Park?
He has not, he asked, he said that was something we were looking at. But I told him we'd already done a preliminary layout back in '07 or '09. It's gonna take a pump station out there. And he didn't know exactly where the bathroom or the size. But no, we haven't been given the go-ahead to do that. But, 'cause I don't exactly know where the splash pad's gonna go. I don't know if it's gonna go on the far backside of I haven't had that conversation with Jonathan on exactly. I know the bathroom's gonna have to go up real close between where the handicap parking is, or where the new pad is and the existing tennis courts. That's where the bathrooms are gonna go right there. That's the only place we had them the last time. But where the splash pad's gonna go at or the size, I haven't been told that.
Well, and that
I guess
has a.
we should've put the splash pad where we put the playground, Shannon.
Yeah, because we have water there. But the one thing that we need to make sure of when we're looking at this big plan is, you know, we went to that meeting the other night about the library.
Right.
And we just need to make sure where we want that library, you know, everything works with
Do we
that.
need a workshop to finish up the conversation?
I would say we do.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. I didn't know if-
Yeah, we
I
can
think it
finish
needs to
up
be.
that.
Have y'all seen the layout I did for the?
Yes.
Okay.
But we've looked at a couple different, we gave them a couple different options about going up instead of out. So,
To reduce the footprint.
Yeah, to reduce the footprint, but
Cause I didn't know if that's what was holding up that future building, if that's what was holding it, where I didn't know where the splash pad was going.
yeah,
If
and
it's
so I
like
think we
that.
need to identify where that's gonna be in the parking, and then figure out where the splash pad needs to be, and, you know, that needs to be one plan, I think, drawn up.
So you want a workshop?
Yes, ma'am, I think we need to do a workshop on that,
Yeah.
and you
But-
guys be there to,
If y'all want us to, like on these sidewalks, y'all just need to tell me, do y'all want, if I can get a work order to Terry tomorrow that we have to start on the sidewalks in Lost Plantation. And I can start on these bathrooms if we don't know where at Patriots Park.
Yeah.
If we don't know where the splash pad is, that's just a water line.
yeah, and it don't matter whether, I mean, we know the bathroom's gotta go there.
Right.
So, I mean, I feel comfortable with the bathroom.
I do
Right.
too. We
Um,
need bathrooms out there.
It hadn't been.
Does
long.
that have to be voted on and canceled in order to give him?
This
one
is
or
just a
not?
work order. We
It's
send a
just
a
work
work
order.
order.
This is for engineering work. We're not
Bathrooms.
bidding, the work out for a contractor to build it yet. We're just designing the plans to get it ready to.
I think you go ahead and design it. and-
Bathrooms and the sidewalks in
Sidewalks.
Lost Plantation for
Yeah,
sure.
that, now sidewalks in Lost Plantation that is approved, that needs to,
Right.
we move forward with that,
Okay.
just put our plan together.
Will do.
And that's to the golf course.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the
to
whole
golf
point.
course.
Correct.
And it sounded like you said you needed a go-ahead on picket fences. What do you need there?
It's same thing, I've got a work order, and I
You do
sent it
have
to
one?
Jonathan, I'll just send it in the, email it to everybody tomorrow.
That'd be fine. And then you guys can go ahead and start on all the
Yes, sir.
preliminary stuff.
Survey and engineering design, yes.
Yeah, perfect.
So go ahead on the bathrooms, sidewalks, and picket fences.
Yeah. Just like,
Right,
you wanna
ready?
finish out?
Okay. So I know we've got our workshop tomorrow. We just talked about the reclaying and Alan Wilson. He came out, yes, to piggyback the fields. The outfields are looking amazing. They're a world
Got
of
rid of the
difference.
worms.
Yes, it's a world of difference. We are, I'm also waiting on a quote from, Musco. They came out, last Tuesday, and looked at what we can do. I asked him for two different quotes. One to take the existing poles on field 4. I moved them around, so they're in order now, so I have to. There's only one field left out there that has the old wooden poles that are not Musco lighting, that are not on control link. So those actual lights still have to be turned on with a key. So I asked him to give us a price on, turning those over to Musco, if they can be with control link, and then us, and him replacing them with the actual Musco lighting. So, I'm waiting on that. I also asked him while he was at it, just so that we would have it for, future reference, to be able to know budget-wise, what it would cost. I found your original plan for, Giles, for the football field out there, to see what we could do to put lights out there, take those little lights out the middle and make it a real field, so that we have that for future, so that we can plan on budgeting for that.
Yeah, because I can tell you, Shannon, I know that Phil Kiefer and I spoke, whenever they done McCall Park, and it didn't have lights out there whenever I was previously on council. And when we pull those lights down on the field out here, we were gonna try to donate those to the county to be able to put those out, so, because they're still good lights, even if you have to flip them or whatever, so just a thought.
You mean on, at Macumber or at Giles?
At Macumber, being
Okay,
able
yeah,
to
yeah,
utilize
yeah,
those
yeah.
lights. if-
Well, I'm hoping that they can, I know in the past I've worked with, Musco, where they've been able to convert the control link and still use them. And it averaged around $10,000-15,000 to convert them, without replacing them, because replacing them is upwards of $150,000 to $200,000, so. Right now, currently, I gave you all the numbers for, cheerleading. Flag football's pretty low. We're at 7. We're gonna try to push it a little bit more, and see if we can get some more. If not, then the kids will be able to be offered, another sport. Soccer, we're getting close to 100 kids. You know, the open league, most of them are waiting on, we have the softball meeting at 6 and the baseball meeting at 7 on August the 1st. And, so we'll be able to do that. Cleaning out, we, cleaned out our old football equipment and, we had like just old pants. So we put them $10 a piece just to get rid of them, you know, to the kids that needed practice pants. Tonight was the, splitting up the teams with the coaches and stuff, for the football so that we can split up the cheerleading too, in the next 2 days. And so all the kids were out there tonight and I left getting their shoulder pads and, you know, all that, so.
So Shannon, you are good with coaches? You don't need anything from us? You've got that taken care of?
Where we were lacking was cheerleading and they came out.
And they took care of that.
So,
So we got that, and then on the baseball, how many teams did you end up with in the open league?
So most of them are waiting, like I said, for the August 1st. The phone rings every day.
Yeah.
I got a call today, that guy said he has 2 teams, you know, but they all wanna wait till August 1st. And the point of that is, for all the coaches to sit down in a room and kind of say, no, we want this rule, no, we want that rule, okay, we're gonna do this, okay, we're gonna do that, and then they can all agree. And then they've all said once they do that, they're gonna sign up.
Umpires and referees and for football, how are we looking on that?
So we've been advertising, we've got, you know, a few that have signed up. I've reached out to a few and staff is reaching out to a few. That's, you know, always just a challenge because the parents, I mean,
Right.
there's no sugarcoating it, you know.
It's not getting easier either.
No, it's not, it's getting harder and harder.
Okay.
We're still working on, our renovations, we're almost done with the inside of Macomber. We got the barn door put up to hide the tables and chairs when you come in. We have repainted the new side bathrooms. The guys have repainted those, and they're epoxying the floor to match the old side so that both bathrooms will look exactly alike. I'm working with Jody and Terry on still trying to figure out what we're gonna do. Phone guy came out, got phones, but still can't get voicemails. So, you know, that's quite a bit of a challenge, but, you know, hopefully, I think Terry's gonna work to try to get Comcast out and see if they can get it fixed, you know, but we do the best we
We need to
can.
really make that a priority.
Yeah,
That's been
that's
dragging
ridiculous.
In the
out.
meantime, can you forward the phone to a cell phone?
We can't even change the voicemails.
Oh,
I mean, you still get Mike, Caitlin, and Alex.
oh no, we need to change
Yeah,
that.
so, yeah, we can't even, you know, that's been just,
Commercial representative with Comcast assigned to us, that you know.
Not that I know of.
Okay. That's what we need. When we call Comcast business, we need to get a representative assigned to us, so we have one point of contact and stop all that call center stuff. That's why you're not getting it.
We're gonna get that taken care of.
yeah, it's just been a challenge. But I know Jonathan was working on, with the internet, so, that's exciting that we, and,
One that's on the-
Merle got the alarm guy out. So, we'll have the alarms hopefully up and the cameras up and running. He's getting us quotes on all that now. We met with him, walked around and, you know, so hopefully we'll have that soon.
Fabulous, because if somebody breaks in that concession stand one more time and we don't have a good picture of them, I'm just gonna go bat crazy.
Well, don't on me, cause I'm working on
I'm
it.
gonna go bat crazy.
I
I'm
mean-
telling you.
We've got to, yeah, we need to get that done.
I mean, honestly, you know, I mean, I hate to say it, but, you know, you could put blink cameras out there, but you can't because we don't have internet.
Right.
So,
We're
you
gonna
know,
get it.
we're at a loss with that
Yeah.
kind of stuff, so.
We're gonna get it.
You talked to me about wanting to budget next year for, lightning alert.
Yes,
Is that gonna be in your?
Yes,
budget?
that is gonna be in my budget for Perry Weather, yes, I mean, it is,
That's a need.
That's important.
it is,
Safety is
you know,
priority.
and I'll tell you, you bring that up, but last year, so I was at the state tournament 2 weeks ago, and, two of the guys that I used to work with from Seneca was up there, and both of them had gone down to the field and, went to gather equipment, and they had their hands on the fence. The lightning hit one of them, it blew the tips of his fingers and fingernails off, and the other one, he said his pants completely blew off. He was standing there with nothing on. You know,
Well, they're very lucky.
and he said, you know, there was just no warning, so, yes.
And I just wanna tell you, if you'll have a policy around that, because we were at Clarence Morgan Saturday afternoon and theirs went off. And the minute it goes off, the umpires stop the game and turn around and tell everybody, you need to get your stuff together and go to your car. You have
That's
to
in our
leave the
coach's
park.
Yeah, you
manual,
gotta
yeah.
leave the park.
That's in our coach's manual, and you'll see that in my SOP, they have to leave the park.
Bleachers are metal.
And that is one of the things that honestly, I was gonna talk to Doug about at some point, because I have no idea if those fields are grounded.
Yeah. And every time it pops, that the 30 minutes starts over.
Yes, it
Right.
So
does.
it's a, you know, it's. a
But, I mean,
continuous
are
thing.
they, do you know if they're grounded?
I don't. You can.
Wow, we might need to think about
I'm
that.
betting no.
Yeah, I'm betting no too,
Probably
and
no
that's,
ground rods on those fences.
That's easy.
is
Can you
it?
do that?
Yeah.
I just think that's something that's kind of important for safety that we should probably look at.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Shannon.
And they
Um,
added to our park improvements.
Yeah, and that's just a rod with that connector on it that,
That's easy fix.
yeah, and the wire.
He can do it when we're doing the fences.
Yeah,
Right.
go ahead and
Yeah,
put it in.
go ahead and add it in.
Add it
Uh,
in.
Chief Merle?
I wanna go back.
Oh, go ahead.
I wanna go back to engineers while we got here.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
It's really, this project is, so thorough. I know Bobo is working on some easement, I hadn't talked to him about 2 weeks. But from what, at the percentage that we're completed on the designs and plans on 7th Street, once we get these easements straightened out, what are the kickoff time, how soon can we kick off of that project?
It's ready to go. It's been ready to go. All we need is the easements. The reason we hadn't, well, we actually bid it one time without having the easements, and we had to basically cancel the project. So it's all ready.
So
We,
once-
we can advertise it and go to work.
So that's, I think we're at the point where we know it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
We need to move forward, and anything they can do now, we need to allow them to go ahead and do it.
Yes.
And I
Yeah,
think
I'd say go
Bobo
ahead and
is pretty
start
close
that.
to doing what he's gotta do.
Yeah, I mean, it's ready. All we gotta do is advertise it. So it's,
Yeah, why don't we go ahead and get that out of the way, get the advertisement out of the way. and get
well, we
started.
don't wanna,
I was gonna say,
we
what's
don't wanna
the-
do it till we have the easements. 'cause
If you
we've
don't
done-
have the easements and we don't get them
We're gonna get
within
the easements,
time,
right, and we
I
have to
understand
do
we're gonna get them,
condemnation.
but how long has this been going on, that we don't have
Too
them?
long because we hadn't been pressing it.
Yeah,
We
so-
got some wrong information out. That's why it's not complete. So what I'm saying now, it's gonna happen under condemnation or either approval with easement. Right now,
My
I'm
only
with
concern
Tim.
about
Tim,
going
I don't
forward,
see a problem, with the easements.
if
But I
we-
know we slowed down because if we've got a grinder pump there already, we've got an easement somewhere.
Well, that's not exactly what we're talking about in the easement, so going to the grinder pumps, we don't need anything. What we're talking about is where it would be,
Crossing another
it would
lot.
be like 3 lots that are served on one line that has to cross or go down a property line. That's what we're needing. And the reason we don't wanna bid it like that is because contractors are not gonna really wanna bid it. And we've done it before, and, one thing hangs up, and then, they're not gonna hold their prices. So you're not really saving time. I think as soon as you get them, we can pull the trigger and advertise it that week. So,
So my concern, Levi, would be if they started that project and they couldn't complete that project, well, then they bid it out as either a whole project or a partial project. Ultimately, it's gonna set us back in time, cause we're gonna have to either go bid out that other portion again and start over, or they're not gonna be able to complete the
But
work.
basically, all they would do, if another cost come in, we'll have to readjust the contract.
But
Uh,
a
we- we-
contractor
we've
is
been-
not gonna do work on property that they legally cannot do work
So-
on, and without the easement, they
Let's
legally
let,
cannot.
let's let Terry,
So
Terry,
I was just
Bobo,
gonna
y'all.
say, so I think that we are like, I would agree, I think that we should wait, but I think that we're very close. We did have to make some changes to the plats after we met with some of the owners in the area. We went back with EMC and they made changes so that wherever possible, we went along property lines instead of cutting off, putting it through the middle of a property. We worked to get away from people's carports and things like that. So, we have 18 that we need, and we have the plats for all of those. So the next step is we probably have about 10 people that have not agreed. They haven't said no, they just were ones that had questions. Some didn't get back with us at all on that, but I think we're at the point now where, that's what Bobo and I were just talking about. His staff has done what they've needed to and given us the advice. It's just us calling each of the property owners to see if they're okay with moving forward with the project. I think given what the project's going to bring to them, that everybody will be on board with it. The biggest concern we ran into when we sent out the first letters was not what the project was gonna do, but how it was impacting everybody's property. And I think we've got it now where it's the most minimal impact possible.
And that was the biggest slowdown, because quite natural, and that's the reason I stopped the project at that point, because you don't wanna run a pipe across the middle of somebody's property. You always when you go out there, you always put it in the setbacks, where they can't build over it, and
Right.
they can't utilize it.
Right.
And that was the whole biggest flare when we sent those letters out, and quite natural. You're not gonna run a line across the middle of my property, because you evaluate the property and what I can do and where I can set a house at. And so this is the biggest problem, but we need to do what we can to get this project done.
So Terry,
My
how quick do
concern
you think
is
we'll make those
getting-
calls?
I mean, I think over the next 2 weeks, we can get them done, so.
Get it all done over the next 2 weeks? So we should be able to come in here at our next meeting and have some clear, let's get started
Yes.
information, okay?
And feel free to send those information, those names to me.
Okay.
Fair enough.
We'll go ahead and have everything on standby, ready to go.
So the people that's not returning the call or not answering, Terry, we'll try to get that information over to,
Okay.
Mr. Scott.
Okay.
Let's get that worked out. All right, Chief Myrtle?
Good evening. Submitted a written report to you guys as of this afternoon. My fault, and my apologies for the lack of timeliness. I need you guys to be thinking about Hero of the Month for August, for the second council meeting in August. I think we have 3 left, Mr. Exley, Ms. Taylor, and Riley, is that right?
What?
The ones that have not nominated.
Nominated the hero.
Oh, yeah.
Just be thinking about that for August.
Yes.
Oh, Ben,
And then, let's,
yeah, we voted,
That is correct.
just let me know, whoever it is. I won't go into a lot of detail on this, but Mr. Scott asked at the beginning of the meeting about the vehicle versus pedestrian we had the other day. That lady is, still in hospital and recovering, so. That's about as much of an update as I can give you at this moment. Flock, I should be presenting that to you guys at the next meeting.
I was about to ask you.
I beat you to it.
Yep, you got it.
And the AV company, they are not giving us a date, but they're gonna go ahead and complete the vendor packet and try to invoice us for the 75% for the equipment, so we can start it sooner. It's the best we can get from them right now.
Oh, good.
For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, it's, Mr. Lynn wanted 2 85-inch TVs in here for, so we can display better smart TVs. It'll replace this one. This one will go away, that's why the board is off the wall, and we had the outlets installed already. That'll be hidden by the TVs. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I think we could probably do away with the projector screen too.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not projecting anything anymore.
That's for this thing, but
Yeah.
I don't think we ever use it. Aside for that, I'm available for questions.
Did you get with the county on,
working with them on
the juvenile.
curfews and stuff?
So, the only one I've not heard back from, for certain yet is Springfield, but yes, county's on board, guys on board.
What do you expect?
With what?
Juvenile.
School and bylaw.
They have to reach a student staff population of 350 or more, to qualify per DOT. So, and they're not there. Every year they're coming in
We just don't have
at
the
300 to
numbers.
305.
Just don't have the numbers.
Right. I think we'll get there, but it's not there yet. But I'm checking on that population every school year.
Well, let's get that other thing that I showed you, that shows
The speed display,
yes,
we can do that.
because
Are you talking
I
about
want y'all
for
to
that?
be hard on 21, and I may get a ticket myself because I speed, I'm sorry, it's just the way it is. But I want you to start hammering 21. And I
Give me
know
some more officers.
I'll be
We'll be all
guilty
about
of
it.
it, and I'll pay it because I'm guilty.
Give me some more officers and we'll be all over it.
If the officer, you find.
How many
We got-
officers
I
are you
mean,
short?
we're only short 2 on patrol, but what I'm saying is, there's 2 shifts of 4, 2 shifts of 3, those guys are spread thin across the whole city, they're trying, they're out there enforcing, but they're enforcing everywhere. I don't want them sitting on 21.
Well, get me a gun and I'll go out there and just
Oh.
point. No.
Shoot a radar gun, shoot a radar gun.
No, don't.
A radar gun, that'll slow down.
Don't, that's not a good idea.
Radar gun.
So,
This took a south turn.
yeah, so, I had a couple of questions, Mr. Blackwell and I had a couple of questions about speed limit on, Fort Howard. And also, where are we at with the signage for right-hand only truck?
Yes. I'll get back on it.
That's not an answer.
I got you.
I'll get back on it.
So that came up in January,
Yeah,
and we still
yes,
don't
ma'am.
have it.
Yeah.
But that's GDOT too, right?
Well,
No,
Or
No,
us
we-
begging GDOT, I mean,
I think I said that to begin with, but I don't think it is.
it's not.
No, I think we can,
we can do it.
Right lane only,
So Highway 21 signage has been a priority and discussed multiple times.
yeah.
That
Right,
needs to
right,
be
right.
completed by next city council meeting. We need answers of when those are gonna be
And,
installed.
and Fort
I got
Howard
you.
added to that as well, the speed limit.
Speed limit on.
So are you talking about the speed limit change?
Yes.
Correct.
Doesn't that
That's
have
in
to
our
go-
city.
You guys-
There's a process
We
on
can
that.
change that.
I
No,
know
that's in our
one.
city.
You want it 35 to the city
To
limits,
the,
correct?
to the city limits, right.
Cause it goes from school zone where it's like 35 to right before
So
Bleachers.
the last I heard on this was my recommendation to you guys was changing it to 35 on Fort Howard to the city limits.
Yes.
Right.
And then changing, from right here in front of Veterans Park, where it turns to 45, 35 from there to the south limits. But I
35
never
where?
heard back, is that what
But
we're
now
gonna
that
do?
has to go through.
That needs, we need to vote on that.
Yeah, that has to go through 21 though.
I'm gonna get some.
That is, I mean, that has to
DOT.
go on 21, that's DOT.
Well, both of them have DOT involvement because of our radar permit.
Right.
So it's not an overnight thing. You can't just go out there and slap signs. It has to go through DOT for the radar permit.
Even though it's our,
That's right. I mean, you guys have the be-all, end-all answer, but I still have to get it changed on the radar permit.
yeah, okay.
Otherwise, we'll have
So
zero
I
speed
knew about the
enforcement.
Fort Howard,
Ma'am?
I knew about the Fort Howard Road speed limit suggestion. You're saying something about Highway 21 speed limit?
So,
I don't really remember that one.
I don't
I
know.
my
Can you tell
suggestion
me
was
about
for
it?
both,
It was Chief Merle's
but,
suggestion.
but
What is your suggestion?
from right here where it turns to 45,
Yeah.
in front of, Veterans Park, it stays 45 through the most congested area of the city. Has the highest volume of
Across Fort
traffic,
Howard Road and all that?
all the way down to Swagoffer Creek,
Oh, that makes sense, cause that gets you.
And you wanna drop that to 35?
yes. That's my suggestion, you guys take it or leave
Yeah,
it.
cause as you go now, if you're sitting there at a red light trying to get out on 21 and it turns yellow, the trucks are going
Mhm.
45, 50, maybe a little faster, and they just don't stop. They just blow right through the red light, cause
Yeah.
if they hit,
Yeah.
if they hit the brakes, they're gonna be all over.
Yeah,
the
and you
cars
think
that are
about
used to.
50,
Doesn't matter if it's 35,
50 miles an
45.
hour
Yeah.
trying to get across right
Oh,
there
yeah.
where Crystal lives, it's really tough getting out of there.
Yeah.
When people are you know, when it's traffic, it's okay.
I think where we got off track with that is just growth of the city.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Back in the day,
cities,
you know, I mean, that
where
was,
people sped up and got.
yeah, that was the least populated area down there. Now it's the most populated area
Yes.
with businesses, and that's your highest traffic volume area.
Okay, so
Whereas
can we
up
get-
here, it's not that big of a problem.
So firm answers by the next city council meeting on,
I just need you guys to tell me, do you want it changed to 35 in there? Or do you
Can I
want,
add one?
for Howard Road, we have.
Yes.
Can I
Another
add
road?
for Howard for sure, how about
Well,
21?
Do we need a workshop on speed limits within the city?
No, I just need an
Because
answer.
of
Listen,
21, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Fine,
Mine wants.
but I think
Well-
we have to vote on it.
it would be nice if we
No,
had
we don't.
consistency, because I used to live on Fourth Street Extension, and I never could figure out why it was 35 miles an hour on Highway 21, but it was 45 miles an hour in front of my house where my kids play. So Fourth Street Extension is 45 miles an hour. That is too fast.
What are you calling Fourth Street Extension?
Fourth Street, out from the curve,
Mhm.
all the way out to the city limits. It's been 45 forever, and I've always
Yeah.
thought
Well, it was 45 and it moved up to 55 and
There's
now
not a lot
they
of
made it
congestion
all
in there, that's
45.
why that's 45, right?
Is 45 there where Ridgewood is?
Oh,
And-
yeah.
All that's always been 45 miles an hour in a residential neighborhood, and I never understood that. All the other residential neighborhoods are 35.
That's
That's
fine
not
if
a
you guys
neighborhood.
want that. But what my point is, I need to put all this on the DOT, on the radar permit at the same time. I don't need to
I
be
just think
snatching
we
that
need to
radar
be
permit every.
consistent. If Fort Howard Road's gonna be 35, then that one probably needs to be that too.
Yeah, Fort Howard's got a lot of traffic, just because of the school.
That's,
and
it's a
the
traffic
neighborhoods.
difference to me
Why
in my
don't, why
mind.
don't we just pull the list together, those that we
Yeah.
think that need to address, and then we'll pull them back.
Yep.
Workshop.
'Cause we
Like
can
you
make
said,
decisions.
when he played, when he pulls it, start radio, he won't worry about it.
Right.
Shoot, this is.
I do.
I agree.
Drink it.
Thank you, sir. Is that all you got?
That's it?
That's right,
All
you
right.
get the big bucks, baby.
Chief?
Or we get the big bucks.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Hello.
We have started the process, with the new hire who takes his physical agility, his physical and pulmonary function test on Wednesday, to fill a vacancy, at the fire department. He's 18 years old, just came out of high school. I've secured a spot for him in September's basic fire school.
Okay.
So I have 4 people going to decision-making and company officer tactics and strategies at the end of the month. I have just been awarded my chief fire officer designation from the Centers for Excellence. It's taken me 24 months to get that.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
You're working hard, we appreciate it.
And I'll see y'all tomorrow night if you don't have anything for me.
No, I wanna add something while we're
Okay.
here. Very good meeting with the county that we had. And, just so everybody knows, I just wanna, let everybody know here. There was a little bit of talk about response time on at least the medical side of things. The county is putting a 2 ambulance facility right beside the Dollar General here on Columbia. So there's a house backs up to Dasher Creek on the corner right there, and they said that that's probably a month out because they don't have any build out, so they're just permitting right now. So it's really not a lot, just getting the 2 ambulances and getting them put in place. But that would give us, their thought process was sometimes they have a problem getting around to us, from Goshen coming through. So being able to cover the center of our city working out is another positive thing. So that will be a 4-person, 2 ambulance, unit right there in that house, and we're looking at about a month out on that.
Correct.
Have you seen that, Terry?
They have put a 6th EMS unit on, 8 hours a day, 12 hours a day from 8 in the morning till 8 at night to help with some of the congestion on the calls. So the response times will definitely get better.
Yeah.
They have gotten better in the past couple of years. And I have had thoughts from the county, in discussion to the fire response times from last council meeting that we're told. And, their automatic aid times are now down to 6 minutes
Yes.
because of the addition of stations 16, 15, and 17.
Right.
And us moving back into the city, so.
Right, I think we were told 16 minutes.
Right.
And then we got
An
those.
incorrect number.
Yes, we got those numbers firmed up, exactly what they are. And we talked about that at the meeting, so they were supposed to get you that information. I
They
know
got
we'll-
me that information
Yeah.
over
We'll
the
talk
last 2 days.
more about that tomorrow
Correct.
at the workshop, but that is very positive that the county is, you know, and it is automatic. So the aid, the mutual aid is automatic mutual aid. We don't call anybody. The moment that a call comes in, they respond, and then we call them off.
Correct. On structure fires, it's automatic aid. They're paced out the same time we are.
That's right. Okay.
Perfect.
All right.
Thank you.
Any more
Thank you,
questions
Chief.
for Chief?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lou.
All right.
Water sewer, Mr. Bowles?
Submit you a written report.
We definitely have just a couple questions. I know, Ms. Riley, and Ms. Underwood had asked me about our schedule, about the cleaning of the streets and edging and, you know, what 21 looks like, and I really wanna make sure that we get that on a schedule so we know. You know, all these guys up here are really sticklers on schedule, and I'm not so sure, Tim, it's schedule as much as it's also making sure the people that are doing it know how to do it correctly.
You have that inmate crew doing 21.
Tim, can you come up so that I can hear you? I had a hearing problem in the left ear, so.
We've got the inmate crew, the contract inmate crew doing 21. And sometimes I gotta send them back over twice
That's for lawn maintenance? That's
for
what-
edging and cutting the sidewalks.
Do they use, weed eaters or
Weed eaters and edgers.
Yeah, last time I saw them, they were, well, it was earlier in the summer, they were using shovels.
I think Mona had them purchase
Yeah, Jonathan
edgers
purchased
and weed
edgers.
eaters.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look like they're using them.
Do they know how to operate?
Can we?
They tear them up faster, we can buy them.
That's
Ah,
probably the
shoot.
case.
Exactly,
Cause
Well-
it's not theirs, they don't care, and they just.
exactly.
I just wanna say this, and I know we're using what we're using, but our streets and our sidewalks look like crap. I mean, they really do, and
I mean, I'm doing the best I can
I
with what I
know,
got.
I know, but what's the solution to fixing this? What-
So-
Okay, we're using inmates.
I know.
We are.
But that's what I'm saying,
And I'm
what's the
watching some of the
solution?
work myself, but what we've gotta do, we've gotta get someone that's working with them, that's gonna make sure they do the job and complete the job.
That's
while
right.
they're doing it, before they leave that area.
Yeah.
So something that I think council needs to discuss and something that's kind of been mentioned a couple of times over the last week or so is I feel very strongly that there is a need in the city for some type of actual facilities manager that's also a project manager who our EMC guys have one single point of contact. We know that this person's gonna be on site the first day of construction to make sure that those teams show up. But this person is also running schedules and projects for the city. So when air filters in City Hall need to be changed, we know when that's gonna happen. There's an actual schedule for it. When is 9th Street gonna be cut? But that person's also working with the, corrections officer that's over these inmates to make sure that they're doing it the way that we wanna do it. Cause right now, that corrections officer doesn't really have much direction, I don't believe. I don't know how much
We've
direction.
been bouncing from one officer.
So, I mean, you have all
To
these
no
other
officers.
tasks, you have all these other tasks that, I mean, right now, you're just kind of saying, hey, y'all need to go do 9th Street. But who's actually taking the time to talk to the officer that's
To
on
manage it.
site to manage it? I don't
Me,
think,
I tell them, see, when you go out there to do a sidewalk, make sure they edge it, blow it off, make sure the grass is cut out of the cracks, down the side, up the ditch bank, and next thing you know, You gotta send them right back through
And
the.
I think what Brandy's
I think
saying
we're,
though.
I think we need
Right.
another
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
We're short on staff for this. It's too much. There are too many things going on at one time in the city that honestly need a project manager to manage all of these things and give us timelines for them.
Schedule.
Like our street sweeper yesterday was, wait, what's today, Monday? Today, at 2:00 in the afternoon, right down Highway 21. Right at the busiest part of Highway 21, got traffic backed all the way up past Fort Howard Road. Why are we sweeping the streets at 2:00 in the afternoon on a busy Monday? That should be done at night. That's and that is the scheduling thing with the guy that's doing it. I get it, but maybe he's not the right guy.
If he's a part-time guy.
He's part-time.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, and
So that's what
Brandy's,
you need to look at your staffing, your FTEs, make sure
And-
you got enough to do it, because, we've got, I know we've
Staffing
got,
issues.
we've even got blind spots
Yep.
at streets now, that
We
I've
do.
reported 2 months now.
Yep.
We still have blind spots.
We
that I've
absolutely
reported.
do. Bushes and things that are blocking your view. We're gonna have increased accidents throughout the city. I'm surprised the chief isn't starting to talk about it.
Well, and.
It will be soon.
And Brandy's right, because it's crazy for, like Shannon with all she's got going on, and she's gotta go see if a concrete guy shows up. I mean,
That should not be our directors should
recreation
know about
department
those
was-
things, but they should have someone that
Right.
they can deploy
But
to
they're
that
having to run over there
location.
to Patriots Park all the time, to see if somebody showed up or not, and it's like, if we had a properties, a facilities maintenance person, they'd be handling all
Well, you,
this stuff.
like Brandon said, you can get that individual, put that individual, they can have a schedule, they can put a schedule, put it in the computer, you can go in there and find out what date they gonna be cutting this street,
That's
or
what
the
we
street.
need.
Exactly,
That's what
and
it
it's,
is.
it's a way,
That's-
if you have a proper project manager on all of the things that are going on, that's someone that knows how to do maintenance schedules and that knows how to run projects, if you have that person in place, then we can publish that to our portal and our citizens know, and, you know, when they start calling and saying, why isn't Ninth Street done yet? Oh, it's scheduled to be done tomorrow. You know, we have an answer for them.
And after a while, they'll get used to it. They'll know it's Tuesday, they come to Ninth Street, and they'll say, well, it's Wednesday, they didn't come yesterday.
Right.
And the other thing is I wanna say too, is that you heard everything Brandy listed, that's more than a code enforcement officer
That
needs to take
absolutely
on.
is.
I mean, because I think that was what everybody's thinking, well, can't the code
Yeah,
enforcement
that
person
was
do
the
that?
thought.
No, I never thought that.
And I don't.
This is
and-
a true project manager
Yeah, and I
type
don't
person
want Tim, I don't
who
want
knows
Tim
how to
to,
run projects.
I don't want Tim to think that, you know, that is a reflection of what you're doing.
It's absolutely not. There's too much on his plate.
Yeah, it's just too much to, you can tell people to do things, they're gonna go out there and do it the way they want to. We gotta have somebody managing that
And it's not
process.
just those things, it's taking a little bit off of Tim so that he can
Yeah.
focus better on some other stuff, but it's taking a couple of things off of, you know, Shannon so that she can focus on some other stuff.
And that would help.
And allowing them another point
But
of
that would help us
contact.
determine whether he need any additional FTEs.
Right.
And-
That's right.
And at least we will be headed again, know what's going on, have some of the citizens off of our back.
That is my suggestion,
Well,
is that we
see,
look at.
Good suggestion.
And
add
add
another
to
person.
it too, cause Brad, I'm gonna pick on you a minute, Brad's sitting here, how nice would it be if, you know, Joe Smith's our facilities maintenance person, he's who you schedule your work through, and you've got one person in Rankin you deal with. Would that not be nice?
Yes, ma'am.
That would be great, right?
alright, well, Brandy, why don't you do some evaluating and investigation about
I can.
how much that would
Job
cost?
description.
What that would cost in a
Yeah.
job description?
Yeah.
I can do that. I'm
All
gonna
right.
work with Terry on it though.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Terry, if that's all, you're fine.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you. Terry, if you wanna talk about, finance a little bit, I know we can't dig deep into it, but, I know that we're right on the edge here of hiring finance director.
Yes.
Has been working with us for a while now, very good. I think everybody here can agree that, I think we finally got the right professional.
In finance.
You know, we have, because of money, we have always seemed to cut that position short. And it's, you know, if you're gonna have somebody in charge of your finances, obviously you gotta pay for people, and, you get what you pay for. So I think this person coming in is really gonna be, strong. She's been helping us get through things already, so.
And she will take us right through the budget process,
Correct.
because she's that good.
And I wanna say to Terry, we appreciate you taking on that dual role right now, because we know that with the growth going on now in planning and building, you got a handful and you got throwing these ordinances at you, trying to get them changed. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, it's good that me and Jody are doing it together,
Yeah.
so I think both of us get
I
to
told
know.
her-
We ain't worried about Jody.
I told them the other day that they
Jody
were
got
like,
her hands going.
they were like the Wonder Twins, if you
Thank
remember
you.
them. Nobody probably remembers that, cause it's
And-
a long time ago.
And I know we're down,
Right.
I know we're down Jonathan right now, but I know we were starting to get our financial reports, if we could keep those flowing to us every month, or.
Yeah. Rankin Golf, Joe and Miss Tara, if y'all can come on up.
Yes, I have something to talk to y'all about.
Oh, no.
The driving range signs on order, they're supposed to be in this week.
He's walking up. He's walking up.
I want to tell y'all, I played the other night, and the golf course is fabulous. It is, the greens are fabulous, it's fabulous, and I love it, thank you.
Thank you.
You guys are doing great.
Joe, I rode it with Tara the other day, and I told her, I said, if you put some azaleas around these curves, it'd look like Augusta.
I love azaleas.
That's
That's what she told me.
I love
He
it.
loves
I
it.
know, it's.
I was on board until Miss
So
Mona
good.
said that.
Yeah, I was excited till she said that.
Everything's looking good, and then it rains like crazy, isn't it? Yeah.
It's put us behind a little bit, but we'll catch back up and
Okay.
get it where it needs to be again. Water usage, I'll go ahead and go. if you okay. Last month we used 8.5 million gallons. This month so far, we've used almost 5 million. A little bit more rain and a little bit overcast this month, so not as good, but pretty good numbers, I think. Our new flags came in, they're checkerboard, blue and white with the City Club logo in the middle. Look really good, I think. We put those out Friday. I don't know if y'all seen them, had a chance to see them yet, but we put them out Friday and they've been over the weekend, so I think we're moving along pretty good.
And talking to Joe, I had a conversation with him the other night, and just riding the course, it looks like the next thing that we probably should take a bite at is, obviously, Brandy's talking about the cart path is the top priority, but moving into next year's budget, you know, we need to look at starting on our traps.
Bunker
And our
renovation.
bunkers, getting all of our bunkers, resanded and redone,
Yeah.
because the drainage on that is one of the biggest issues that we have, and I think you were saying that we had 50-something out there.
Yeah, I think 40-something bunkers, I would have to count them, and we've got it down to probably about 15 that hold water now. We did a little bit more drainage in them this winter, and we have about 15 still holding water. So we need to work on that, and I think a big issue is just putting new sand, and a couple of bunkers don't even have existing sand in them. Number 17 is just dirt.
Right.
And so it's just been neglected, so it's time to hit that next, I believe.
So, as far as maintenance goes, I agree with that, and obviously the golf cart paths, we've gotta do that, or we're gonna ruin equipment that we're paying for every month.
Exactly.
So golf cart paths are my top priority. I do think when we're looking at our budgets for next year, Tara and I were kinda discussing the driving range. There's some opportunity for revenue there.
Yeah.
So I do think we need to look at that as a, definite item we need to tackle in our budgets, is get that kinda back up to par, and we can actually have events and things there and drive a little bit more revenue for the golf course, cause we do eventually, we would love for this thing to be paying for itself.
One thing.
You said back up to par.
Yeah. One thing with the driving range is it's actually different turf than the rest of the golf course. It's been neglected for so long, it's Bahia grass now.
Right.
So about
We need to get
90%
that
of it, right, and every time I mow it transfers to the golf
It's
course.
going to the golf course.
So that's gonna be a big project, we need to spray it out and actually
Spray it out.
respray it with Bermuda grass.
Good.
Okay. How close are we getting the bathroom on the front line?
I'm still, Tim, your machine?
I don't have time.
You don't have time.
All right, I'll get the
I-
machine.
I will talk to like someone
What are
that
you
can
talking
move it,
about?
and I'll get that
To
done.
move it, you need like,
What
21
don't we
rental.
have time to do? Please tell me
We,
what just
we
happened.
need to get a loader and just move it out to number 5. It's at my shop. The old bathroom that used to be on 6.
So did y'all redo that, or?
We hadn't redid that one yet. When we move it out there, I'll redo it.
It doesn't look bad though.
It doesn't look bad.
doesn't at all.
So.
The other one costs like 1,000 to redo, and I think
Yeah.
we'll do that for the same amount.
Oh, good. So
Yeah,
that
that's
other
not
was
bad
done.
at all.
No.
No,
No.
Beautification can help with that,
good.
okay. Yeah, we'll get
So
that taken
I'll
care
work
of.
on getting that moved out there really quick now.
I'll come over there.
You have to set it on a trailer and take it up there.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
that's
let's
the way-
get-
That's the way we moved it before.
Yeah, okay.
Let's get that done in the next couple of weeks and make sure it's in place before the next council meeting.
Okay.
Just wait for a dry day, we don't want a truck in a trailer
Yeah.
or up.
Right.
Tear up
Over
stuff.
there, yeah.
Right.
They'll have to take it down that, cart path.
Right there's the
Okay.
5.
Oh.
Yep.
It's bumpy and tore up already.
That's right.
Ms. Tara?
Oh, we're doing good. We started our, dynamic pricing. It's going great. There's really been no complaints. There's been questions, but nobody's really complaining. The numbers are looking really good. 'Cause like if you look at an average before we started, and even before the, temporary greens, the average daily rate, because it factors in members and all that stuff, it was in the teens.
Mm-hmm.
And since we started, it's been like 25.
On an average.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big difference.
Yeah.
So that's great. We found out yesterday, I got a phone call from USGA. They asked, did I know that we were, part of Youth on the Course? And I said, no, how would I know that? I had no idea. So it's I mean, I don't know how long we've been a part of it.
It's kind of like First Tee.
Yeah, a little
First
bit.
Tee.
Yeah.
So kids can be a member of this, and they get other things, but, they can play, and it goes up to 18, they can play at a golf course for free, as long as they walk, and then it's up to the golf course about if they take a card or whatever, that fee is up to the golf course. But, if you log it in, to their portal, you get a certain dollar figure for every kid that's a member that plays on your course. So we found out, I think it was Friday, since Friday, we've had 9 kids that are members of that have come in, and we would have never known, but we've asked them, do you happen to be a member of Youth on the Course? And they would say, well, yeah, we didn't think y'all did that. And we're like, well, we did.
Wow.
Can we get
So-
some, call that gentleman back and see if you can get some, information placards to put up, you know?
Well, we have
Or put it on the Facebook page?
Yes, and we got a big TV screen that we started
Oh, you
doing
can do it that way,
announcements
yeah.
on,
Yeah.
so we immediately put that up. And then, I did a QR code, right off of their website that we have for kids that are interested. And so
Good.
we tell, if they're not a member, we tell them, and they, can do it on their phone.
Not everybody plays football or baseball.
Right.
You need a sign in your pro
Right.
shop. You need a sign.
It's on our, we have a
On the
big
TV
TV, and
monitor.
we
Okay.
scroll out whatever messages we want. That's
You got it
something
up there
new we
now.
started doing, so,
It's
yeah, we
already
have it
there.
up there, yeah.
Perfect.
And keep asking the question for the
Yeah.
young folks.
Well, I'm curious,
Yeah, I
how
didn't
many
know
are
about
playing,
that program.
yeah.
And you
Me
got-
neither.
and-
I've never heard of it.
I'm curious about the golf teams at the middle schools and high schools that might be promoted to
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
They could
age
join.
groups.
Speaking
Yeah,
of
for
that,
sure.
you need to talk to them, because I got someone that told me they're playing bump cars with the golf, with our
Uncle
cars.
Who is?
The high school.
The
kids.
high school kids were playing bumper cars.
The teams or
The
high
the
school
teams don't
Teams
take, the
don't
teams
take
don't take
walk.
cards.
It was some young kids.
But it
that were
wasn't the
playing
team.
bumper cars. So
Yeah, the teams aren't,
we
they
need-
walk.
Is there some way that the card it's a smart card, will it tell us if something like that's going on?
I don't think it'll tell us if they're playing bumper cars.
Those carts, if you bump another cart, it will shut off.
It'll shut off, it'll also shut off in the middle of the fair
How do you know it's
racing.
coming?
Cause somebody hit me in the rear end.
right,
went
well,
We've had, we,
Just a birdie
but,
apart.
I told them, I said, y'all should've got onto them when you saw it.
yeah,
you
well, I
know.
mean, if people tell us, then we, you know, but we don't always know, and.
I know, you
we-
can't be
yeah,
everywhere.
It's
we
hard to
try.
see.
Well, could you maybe, could we do something like maybe, you hate to get into policing, but maybe tell them if they get caught, they suspended for a month or two and can't play, I mean.
Well, we have considered that, especially, you know, as things come up.
Are they signing waivers when they rent out our golf course?
No,
No.
they just have they have to have a driver's license
They
and.
might be, maybe we should look at waivers that if you cause damage
Yeah.
to our cards, you will be.
Yeah, we
They
can.
need
Well,
a
that
sign
should be,
for that.
that should be something
I
just
don't know
posted.
whether.
I don't
Yeah.
think we can give them the sign.
Is
but I-
Yeah,
anything like that on the receipt that they sign? 'Cause that's how
no.
we did it at the other golf course I was at.
It's not currently, no.
It could,
They-
like,
It could very easily be.
yeah,
Okay, I'll look into
signing the
that.
receipt and stuff.
Liability and damage
Yeah.
waiver.
You're using a point of sale? What point of sale?
It is Easy Links.
You should
I'll
be able
ask
to
them.
update the message on the receipt
Yeah.
easily.
I'll ask them, I have a call with them tomorrow about something else. We have a big event coming up, the 3rd and 4th, we have member, I think we have 28 teams signed up already. That's 56 people, last year they had 38 people. So, and we're not to the deadline yet, so I'm excited about that. And to kick off that weekend on Friday night, we're having, what we call a Cat 3 event. It's sort of like drive, chip, and putt, but for adults. And it kicks off the weekend, and it's a great event. People come and watch it, like, it's fun. So I would like for all of y'all to come out and,
What's that
see what
date?
it's about. That would be August the 2nd.
God, it's so hot.
It's the evening.
It'll be in
though.
the evening.
It'll be the evening.
I wanted to play in that tournament, because I'm gonna become a member, but I'm gonna be out of town. But next
Well,
time,
listen,
for
if
sure.
it gets too hot, Joe can turn the water on. No problem
We
with
have
that.
a big splash pad.
Yeah.
It's always nice.
Yeah.
And the last thing is, we have 154 members.
That is fabulous.
I'm
Good
so
job.
excited.
That is fabulous.
Excited.
Have the new hats come in?
No, they're being made. They'll be
Okay.
here at some point.
Cause I wanna buy one.
What
I'm
time is the
excited.
August 2nd event?
It's at 6, I think. What else? Is it
6,
6?
I
Yeah.
That's fabulous, thank you.
Thank you
Thank
guys,
y'all.
y'all are doing great.
We appreciate y'all.
Council, anybody have anything they wanna add? There is a need to go into executive session, so
You need a motion?
if y'all don't have, if nobody has anything to say, we could just, yeah, motion.
Open motion to adjourn.
Second.
Executive session. Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Scott, a second by Mr. Blackwell to move into executive session. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
Thank y'all. If y'all
Thank you, guys.
need, call if you have a question, because we don't want anything to fall behind, okay?
Brad.
Always forget.
Situation.